Hi, my name is Leah Goujon, and I am a Canadian living in the Dominican Republic. I've lived here for 7 years, and 2 years ago I purchased a piece of property to build on. My hope and dream was to build a property for myself to live in, as well as, or a building for myself to live in, a house, and another building that would provide income. And at the time, I didn't know if that would be commercial income or residential income in the way of rentals. But my process started about 2 years ago when I started shopping for the piece of land. 4 years ago. So 4 years ago, I started shopping for. I finally had made the decision that what I was wanting to buy didn't exist. And if it did exist, it was out of my price range. And I knew that I could build a house and another structure that would provide some sort of rental income for a lot less than what was for sale. And there really wasn't much at the time for sale that really was a separate building, one for residential and one for commercial and or residential. I also didn't want to build a property like a two-story building where I lived upstairs and there was rental spaces downstairs, commercial spaces. So I didn't want that either. So it took me, once I started my search, it took me 2 years to find a piece of property that was going to meet those needs. The need for me to build a house was actually the easiest because there's lots of beautiful pieces of land here. And, I wasn't looking for oceanfront or ocean view. I wasn't looking for anything special. More the size of the land because I am a gardener, so I wanted enough land to put in an orchard as well as obviously some beautiful gardens. So for me, my criteria for personal space wasn't huge. The criteria for the commercial slash residential space for rentals was more demanding. So obviously it needed to be somewhere where there was a demand. If I'm going to build some commercial spaces, obviously I need to build in an area where there's a demand for commercial rentals. So I took a very close look at that. And this particular piece of property, it was a piece of property that had been owned by the same Spanish man from Barcelona for 30 years. And he, at this point in time, had decided to sell it off and he had subdivided it into lots. So this is the actual plan. I don't know if you can see that. But this is the main street, and then he owned everything that's encompassed here. So what his plan was and what he has done is he built an interior street. So this is what the skinny little slice right here is. It's a dead-end road, and then just sectioned lots. So you have several lots that have frontage here on the main street, and then you have several lots in the back. Now this particular area is a small loma, so it's a small hill. So this particular lot up here actually has beautiful ocean views, where the rest of the lots are lower down, and behind this particular hill, the ocean is way up here. So for me, the best lot for me was going to be a lot that was that not only had frontage here at the street, but also had frontage coming back onto this street at the back. So what I ended up buying was the one that's at the very end. At the time that I purchased, the only other lot that had sold was this one here, which is the only lot that's on the other side of the street that was built, and there's a house already built on it. When I purchased, all of the other lots were still for sale, and the owner thought for sure that I wanted this great big beautiful lot up here in the hill with the beautiful ocean views. But of course, I had a mind to also produce rental income from this property. So I had decided it would probably be more lucrative for my needs to purchase this particular property down here. So I have the frontage down here for what eventually I have decided to build as a store and bakery on the bottom, and then put a house on the back of the property, and I will have access from this back street for the house. So that's how I ended up with the property. But it took me 2 years. The actual title process took another, it was August 2020 when I bought, and it was June 2021 by the time I got my actual title in my hand, in my name, saying you, Leah Goujon, own this piece of property. And it wasn't until I got that title that I was going to start any kind of building. You know, I had a lot of people say to me here, oh, you know, you're going to get approvals, no worries. But for me, it was part of my, I didn't make my final payment to the owner of the land until I also had my title. So the process of getting the title and risks about starting a project without having title approval, and not only that, but the risks of, like, how do you know when you buy a piece of property that the title is going to be good? Here in the Dominican Republic, there's a lot of questions about title. So that, honestly, you guys, is a whole other video, which I am happy to make, and I will make and post, because title here can be an issue. But there are some red flags, and there are some easy ways of knowing whether, you know, a future title is something that's even attainable to you. So I'll happily go through that. So once June 2021, I got my title. So by December, I had, you know, I'd done some research through the summer, and I had decided on an architect and a plan. It took me, you know, a few months, even just sort of scribbling my own little sketches out and making, because I didn't want to hire an architect until I really knew what I wanted. I didn't want to pay him to like start sketching my ideas. So it took me till December. I hired an architect, a local guy that is an architect here and a builder here. He's done lots of projects that I was able to see. So, and he also spoke really good English. So for me, my Spanish is not perfect, and certainly with technical type words, it was more important to me to have an English speaking architect. The builder might not be so important, and I'll discuss that why later, but for me, the architect was very important that he spoke some English. So December, I hired the architect. By January, he had plans for me. You know, we went back and forth with the plans, not that much, because like I said, I was pretty sure of almost exactly what I needed. I do have some education in architectural drafting. So the drawings that I was able to sketch out for myself and, you know, sort of hand to him as ideas were pretty comprehensive. But it saved me time and money with the architect, so, you know, whatever. By January, we had a plan that we had decided on, and I gave him the package, gave him the deposit, and said, okay, let's go get the approvals. So approvals here are from 3 different ministries. There's the College of Architects that requires a payment. There is ANAPA, which is the water company, and I think that's it. Again, in a separate video, what I'm going to do is also just list my costs. So what I paid for the land, the deposit that I gave, when I gave that, when I gave my final payment, how much I paid my architect, and how much I had to pay for all of my approvals. So all that information I'm going to put in a separate video as well. So you guys can actually just follow along and know exactly what I'm paying. I mean, I can't, at this point in time, I can't tell you what I'm paying is a good price or a bad price. I can tell you that what I am paying is something that I've done quite a bit of research on, and I spoke to a lot of people here, people that have built, people that have other quotes. I didn't just get one quote. So I feel at the end of the day, the price that I paid for the professional person that I'm using, I think was absolutely a great price, and I was more than happy to pay for the services that he provided me. So far so good. And as I move through the process, and I, you know, have to hire, you know, a builder and an electrician, and, you know, sort of the different trades, and I will obviously share all that with you guys as well. So I'm at the point now where I can start building. So I just wanted to share with you guys, the only reason that I didn't start building in the spring. I had a family thing going on, and I was in Canada for a lot of the summer. But I am back here now, and it's October, and October 2022, and I'm ready to start. So the first thing I'm going to do is I need to interview a builder, and what I want to do is find someone who will start with me and start with the perimeter wall. The perimeter wall is a lot. It is, let me just see, I've calculated it out to be 4,200 square feet. Which is a lot of block wall plus columns. So really, the first go around for me is finding someone not only that can do a job that's to my satisfaction. Obviously a wall needs to be level and straight and strong and all that kind of stuff, but someone that I can communicate with and someone that I can work with, because obviously here in a foreign country with a foreign language, a lot can get lost in translation. So I want to try and mitigate as much of that as I possibly can, not only by educating myself in the ways of Dominican construction, but in key terminology and keywords as well. So all of that sort of little bit of research I think is going to help me in the end. So I was hoping to do a 10-minute video. I see I'm at like 11 and a half minutes, so I'm going to stop and we will carry on. I'm going to start interviewing builders, so I will share that process with you guys as soon as I firm that up. See ya.